So let's go into it. So I want to talk first about the feeling that you get when you're at an event. And this could be virtual, live, what is that feeling and how do you kind of create it? So obviously, I think it's obvious to most people who have been at a live event, you're not going to get that feeling from being on a computer screen. So you walk into a live event and you get this excitement, you get the wow factor, you have the buzz of people around you, you have the stage, you have the setup. When you are at a virtual event, it's a little bit different. So I want to compare that feeling, that wow factor, for those of you who haven't maybe been to a live event recently. I get that feeling from, old wooden churches, from libraries and bookstores, like where you walk in and you just feel surrounded by knowledge and at peace, but also excited and ready for whatever is coming and what kind of value is going to be thrown your way. That's how I feel when I walk into those places. I'm sure everybody has a place like that where they feel like that. That's the feeling you get from a live event. That's the only other place you can sometimes get that feeling. So as far as that kind of energy, it's possible to mimic that for a virtual event, but you're never really going to get that actual feeling. So there are plenty of ways you can pump up music, you can get people excited, you can get that connection. So that wow feeling is kind of what converts. It's what converts people. If you're doing a sales event, it's what gets people to buy. You're not going to recreate that. So that's one thing on the side of live events. Now, conversion for live events, once they're there, they're with you for life. So you're not going to maybe fill that room up as much as you wanted to, but when you're at a live event, those people at that live event are your most loyal audience, hands down, almost every time. If you create the right experience for them, you have got people for life in your corner. You've got people who are going to buy from you, people who are going to want to work with you, people who are going to return to your live event. When you're doing a virtual event, it's not impossible to get that kind of conversion, but what you want to do is get a lot more attendees. So with a virtual event, you have a lot more people that are going to sign on because it's easier for them to attend, but your conversion rate is not necessarily as high as far as what we've seen in the past. So, again, attendance at a virtual event, your highest conversion is going to, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, that your highest conversion is going to be the people that stay till the end. And so it's kind of the same at a live event. You're maybe going to have one or two people at a live event who leave early or who don't stick around, and that's fine. At a virtual event, you're going to have a lot of people who don't stick around, but you're going to have that 20%, 30%, 40, 50% that stick around, and those are your people. So as long as you get your numbers up for a virtual event, it's very, very possible to get the conversion that you're looking for. You might have a lower price point. So live versus virtual, a virtual event is going to be less expensive to plan. It's going to be simpler to plan. It's going to take less time and, less things that you have to bring in. It's also going to be a much lower price point ticket. So those are the pros and cons there, but you also, you're going to have a lower price point offer at the end. So you're not going to take people usually from your virtual event to your highest program. You're going to maybe work with them a little more and then upgrade them a little bit and then sell them on your highest program. So that's all about conversion, live versus virtual. All right, let's talk about quality and energy for a minute. And I know I just went over this a little bit, but the important thing when you are holding an event is containment. So how do you get people at a virtual event to have the same kind of containment that you do at a live event? And the answer is you can. What you have to do is give them multiple times to consume that information. So you can give people an access pass, and that could be something that is free or a very low price point, and they have to watch it live. And you just have to understand that a lot of those people are going to drop off. They're not going to watch the whole thing. But then maybe you offer them the recordings, or maybe they could buy an upgraded version with the recordings, and now you've got another chance to reach them. So you want more chances to reach people at a virtual event. You want to give them opportunities to learn and learn again because you don't have them all in a room. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. So right now, another benefit of a virtual event is the cost is very low. So you have your high-end platforms that are around $15,000, but they do everything. And you have your less expensive programs that are only going to cost you like $100 a month, maybe even less than that if you're doing a very basic version. So that's a benefit to there. And a lot of your speakers on virtual events are going to be joining your event because they want the exposure, or they want to support you, or they want to try this thing called virtual speaking. And that is something that is a benefit to you because a lot of your speakers will speak for free. Whereas in a live event, you may have to pay some speakers, you may have to pay for their travel, but you can pretty much host a virtual event without, a lot of speakers will jump on board without charging a fee. Now that might change as virtual events get more and more advanced, but right now that's what we're seeing. So connection is the biggest factor in any event, right? So in a live event, you're going to have a lot of connection opportunities. You're going to see people, they're going to see you. You can actually connect with the audience from stage. You can coach them from stage. You can connect with people, your audience can connect with each other. You have networking opportunities, learning opportunities. It's something that is very unique to a live event, and that is something that cannot be recreated, but it can be mimicked. And so some of the ways you can do that is through Zoom calls. If you have a VIP ticket, you probably want to have 30 people or less in your VIP category. If you're offering maybe like lunch and learn or a VIP reception, if you can get a small group of people together, or you can create multiples of those experiences, say you have different pods of different topics, then you can actually create a little bit of networking. Facebook groups are a way to do that too, and we're going to talk more later in different videos about how to increase the quality and create those connection experiences and think of networking ideas. So it's not impossible to connect at a virtual event, but the connection's not quite as strong. So are virtual events the future? And here is my conclusion, and I think the general consensus of the event industry overall, even the virtual event platforms, is that they're not going to replace live events, but they will supplement live events. And we're going to see more and more virtual aspects to events in the future. So don't count them out. They're a great way to engage your audience. You should not ignore them. You've got to be prepared and knowledgeable about them. But I would not suggest, once we are up and running and doing live events, to replace your annual live event with a virtual event. Some ways you could use a virtual event is to have more than one event a year, right? If you have a virtual event at the 6-month part, that's gonna just get people excited and more engaged, and you can use that event to kind of create that team connection that you wouldn't have for an entire year otherwise. You can also use them as a way to enhance your live event. So if you want to have a virtual aspect to your event, like live stream recording, if you haven't seen my video from yesterday, please look it over. There's so many ways to enhance your live event with a virtual aspect to it. So again, so don't count out virtual events. They aren't something we should ignore, but will they ever replace live events? I don't know that with the actual technology that's available today, or with any technology in the future. I mean, even if you're wearing VR headsets and you're attending, you're still not going to get that person-to-person connection or that feeling when you walk in the room as you would with a live event. So they are the future, but they're not going to ever replace live events, is what I'm thinking. What do you think?